Ever stop and think about a massive factory? It's this incredible symphony of coordination, right? Stretching from some huge 5 year vision all the way down to a single task that has to happen in the next 5 minutes. It seems impossibly complex. So, how on earth do they pull it off? This is the big question, isn't it? How does a company manage to balance that long-term dream with the, immediate minute-by-minute reality of the factory floor? It's all about planning across these wildly different timescales. And believe me, getting it right is the secret sauce to success. Well, the answer is something called production planning. And a great way to think about it is like the factory's command tower. It's the central nervous system that's directing literally everything, making sure that inventory, schedules, deliveries, it all runs like a well-oiled machine. A great plan means less waste, happier customers, and a much healthier bottom line.
So, how does this command tower actually operate? Here's what we're going to do. We'll break it down with a really simple analogy. Then we'll dive into the 3 core layers of planning, from years down to months, down to minutes. And finally, we'll see why this whole system is just so brilliantly effective.
Okay, to really wrap our heads around this, let's use an analogy that I think we can all relate to: planning a vacation. It's actually a perfect model for how you take a huge idea and break it down into small, manageable, actionable steps. It all starts with the dream, right? For our trip, it's that exciting moment, hey, let's go to Europe this summer. You're deciding the big picture stuff, the continent, the budget, the season. In the manufacturing world, this is the long-term plan. It's where top management makes these huge calls, like what new product lines to launch or where to build a new factory. Okay, next, you start making that dream a reality. You book the big stuff, the flights, the hotels, maybe a few train tickets. You're building your itinerary. This is exactly like the factory's medium-term plan, or what they call the master schedule. This is where they decide precisely how many units of each specific product they're going to make, day by day. And then finally, you're actually on your trip. You wake up and plan out the day. Museum in the morning, find a cool park in the afternoon. This is the short-term plan. On the factory floor, this is the work order. It's the minute-by-minute schedule that tells a specific worker which machine to use for which job right now. Okay, with that analogy locked in, let's go explore the real thing. We're going to start at the highest level, the 30,000-foot view. This is the long-term plan, where the company is charting its course for the next 1 to 5 years. It is all about strategy and setting that big picture direction. What's really interesting here is the scale. We're not talking about individual products like a single model of a phone. At this stage, top management is thinking in terms of entire product families, like all smartphones. And they're planning in these broad strokes like months or even quarters. It's all about setting the destination, not planning every single turn along the way. The logic behind it is simple but really powerful. The company takes its huge goals, something like increase our market share by 10%, and it translates them into concrete, high-level plans for sales, for investment, for staffing, and the output becomes the guiding star for the entire organization. All right, now let's zoom in a bit and see how that grand vision becomes a concrete game plan. We're moving into the medium-term plan. This is where the production control department translates that big strategy into actual action for the next, say, 3 months to a year. And you can see the level of detail sharpens dramatically here. The planning window shrinks from looking at months to looking at individual days. And we're not talking about general product families anymore. We're talking about specific individual products, what insiders call SKUs, or stock keeping units. So how's this work? Well, production control takes those long-term sales goals. They check what they already have in inventory and how much the factory can actually handle, and then they create 2 absolutely critical documents: the master production schedule, which says what to build, and the material requirements plan, which is basically the shopping list for the purchasing team. The output? A clear set of daily production targets. And now we get right down to the nitty-gritty, the action on the factory floor. This is the short-term plan. It's where those daily goals become a sequence of precise, timed tasks, sometimes planned just weeks or even a few days in advance. The granularity here is just incredible. We are planning in units of hours or even minutes. We're not even talking about products anymore. We're talking about specific manufacturing orders or batches moving through the factory. This is truly where the rubber meets the road. You see, this process is all about execution. The planners take the daily targets from the medium-term plan and, using this incredibly detailed data about every single machine, every tool, every worker's shift. They piece it all together like a perfect puzzle. The output is a concrete work instruction, telling an operator exactly what to do and when to do it. So we have the long-term dream, we have the medium-term game plan, and we have the short-term execution. But why? Why is this layered structure so absolutely vital? Let's bring it all together.
It seems kinda complex, right? I mean, why not just have one giant master plan for everything? Well, the reason is both really simple and actually pretty profound. This table lays it out perfectly. Look at the difference in scale. Each layer operates with exactly the right level of detail for its timeline. You don't need to plan a specific worker's schedule 5 years from now, and you definitely can't run a factory based on a vague quarterly goal. Each layer informs the next, cascading beautifully from broad strategy down to precise action. And this is the magic of the whole thing. This layered structure is designed to contain chaos. Because, let's be honest, real life happens. A machine breaks down, a supplier is late. But because of this system, a small hiccup in the short-term plan gets managed right there on the factory floor. It doesn't cause a massive panic that ripples all the way up and completely derails the 5-year corporate strategy. It gives the whole system resilience and flexibility. So, the next time you're facing a massive project, I don't care if it's building a company or just planning a trip, remember this structure. You need the big dream, the monthly game plan, and the daily to-do list. This isn't just how factories are run, it's how big ideas become reality. So let me ask you, how are you breaking down your 5-year dream into a 5-minute task?